Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the 18th race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Pepsi 400 at Daytona International Speedway as we're getting set for 30 laps of racing here at the most prestigious track on the schedule. Now, this should be interesting considering it's 30 laps this time instead of the 50 at Daytona, so we might be able to see more competitive racing this time around than in the Daytona 500. But regardless, here's a recap of the point standings after Connecticut this past week. Jesse Turner extended his points lead to 15 points, still over Caleb Kilburn, so they've been hanging on to the top two spots and points for quite a few races now, as you're also seeing the starting lineup for the race, as Joshua Sakuli is on the pole for tonight, and I believe that is his first pole this season, with Zachary Fitzwater starting right next to him on the front row. With that being said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Pepsi 400 at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers on the racetrack for the pace lap to get this race going. Now, as I said earlier, the Daytona 500 was more of a pit strategy race than anything, considering it was a 50-lap event. Talladega, on the other hand, the second play race we've done this season, was a lot more competitive and arguably race of the season. Hopefully now, with it being a shorter race here at Daytona and with a better change to the rules package at Daytona and Talladega and tracks along those lines, maybe we might see a great race here tonight. But as I look at the rest of the top 10, Carson Gum and Melissa Alexander comprise row 2. Row 3 is Michael Norman Motorsports teammates Chris Dollerton, Cole Deaver. Row 4, Artur Castanha and the Daytona 500 winner Charles Sanford. And then in the 5th row, it's Jessica Sheldon and Dylan Jacobs. Could Charles Sanford go for the sweep at Daytona and win the 500 and the 400? Or will we see someone completely different win here at Daytona? Pace car into pit road, so ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. Boogity, 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 let's go racing! Carson Gum got to lead the first lap of the race here at Daytona, as 3 wide, several rows deep behind him, Jessica Sheldon, who started 9th, already up to 2nd right now, although I thought it looked like they were going to try and go 4 wide back there, but I guess I'm just seeing things. But Jessica Sheldon trying to make a rebound in the point standings, as she has gradually fallen in the point standings over the past few races. In fact, currently she's 9th in points, when at one point she was the points leader. But now she's just hoping and praying to get a bit of a rebound going for herself. And, oh, are they going to try 4 wide back here? No, they're not. Okay. 4 wide at Daytona is never a good idea. And we know that from in the past where the big ones have struck mostly because of 4 wide incidents here at Daytona. Meanwhile, James Qualls is the one that led the previous lap, but Cody Lama's leading for now. But look at Hannah Klein getting that push from Cole Baker, but left the bottom open. Oh man, are they trying 4 wide? Okay, they settle it out, thankfully. But Hannah Klein left that bottom open for Cole Baker to get a run, and Baker's going to lead that lap, but here comes Julia Katrine in the 26 to try and throw her name into the hat of trying to lead laps here at Daytona, and 3 wide for the lead as Ricky Karaman in the 51, who is actually the highest ranked Horseman Racing driver in the point standings as he comes into this race 17th in points, whereas Castan has 22nd, Hannah Klein 25th, and Raphael Fireblade 38th. Michael Norman, a former winner at Daytona in this series. In fact, if I can recall, he won the Daytona 500 back in his rookie season in Season 6. So he certainly knows how to get it done here at Daytona. Close at the line, but it was DJ Curtis that led that lap. And DJ Curtis, on the other hand, he's been on a bit of an upswing as of late. He moved up 8 spots in the point standings after Connecticut, from 16th to 8th in the standings. And he's looking to try and keep that upswing going, as he's right now in the top 5. Seth Cole, however, now leading the way, and Seth Cole is still trying to get out of this rut that he's in. 27th? I believe. No, 26th in the point standings, so he's definitely trying to get on upswing as well. Chris Dollerton trying to take the lead using the middle, but he had no draft help at all, and he couldn't make that move work. So Seth Cole led the lap, but here comes rookie Ryan Acosta. Ryan Acosta is confirmed to return in Season 8. As a reminder, tomorrow is the sign-ups for the remaining rides that are available for Season 8 Marvel Studios Cup Series action. Ryan Acosta is one of those drivers that's going to be guaranteed to return in Season 8 and is going to stay in that number 10 car as well. And Ryan Acosta comes in this race 6th in the point standings, and he actually moved into the top 10 after Connecticut this past week. Up here at the front, Jake Rogers trying to lead at the line, and he does. Jake Rogers, on the other hand, 37th in points, 2 poles, but nothing much else going for him. Back up at the front now, Benjamin Miles taking the race lead over. Now, Benjamin Miles, kind of similar to Jessica Shelton, has kind of been on a bit of a downward spiral in the point standings, as he actually comes into this race 12th in the standings, fell out of the top 10 after Connecticut. And look who's now up into the front now. It's the points leader, Jesse Turner. It was only a matter of time before he and his teammate and second in points, Caleb Kilburn, were going to make some noise to try to get up to the front. Side by side at the line, but I think Turner led that lap. Although Caleb Kilburn, with that run on the bottom, can he get the draft help to make the pass is the question. And it looks like he will in the help, or from help by Zach Rogers. Speaking of the sign-ups for Season 8 that are going to be starting tomorrow, so yeah, not that many rides were open for Season 8, so it's definitely going to be a competitive sign-ups tomorrow. And keep this in mind, Toyotas and Dodges are coming back in Season 8. So there's definitely going to be more room for diversity, so to speak, in Season 8 as far as manufacturers go. Caleb Kilburn got to lead his first lap of the race right there. But look who's now coming up through the bottom, Jordan Forbes, who's kind of having almost a repeat of his rookie season in Season 6. Currently 36th in the point standings, and he's definitely trying to get on an upswing to try and get out of this rut that he's in. There's Joshua Sekuli in the 00, who was the pole sitter, trying to get up here to try and finally lead a lap, as he did not lead the first lap, and he's definitely wanting to get that extra bonus point towards his run for the championship. And he does lead that lap, and ironically, he and Zachary Fitzwater, who started on the front row, have been pretty much together all race long so far, or at least around each other. And Sekuli actually pulls down in front of the 12 to kind of work together a little bit more. But that left room for Sekuli's teammate, Matt McIntyre, to make a run. In the middle, can he make it stick, though, is the question, but I don't think so, because Charles Sanford with a huge head of steam on the bottom. And remember, as I brought up earlier, he won the Daytona 500, and he's trying to go for the sweep at Daytona. But here comes Carson Gum, who actually led the first lap of the race, trying to reel himself back into the picture to try and get back to the lead, as behind him, Cole Deaver in the 8 car, who is still searching for his first win of the season, and he comes in 7th in points, actually moved up 2 spots after Connecticut, and he's 57 points behind the points lead, so he's definitely not out of the championship hunt at all. Meanwhile, 3 wide for the lead, Kyle Matthews, who has still been struggling this season. He's desperate to get at least a top 10 finish, as he's the only driver in the point standings who has yet to score a single top 10 run in Season 7. And if I recall, I believe he was the dominant driver back at North Wilkesboro a few weeks ago, and because of a timely caution and pit strategy, it kind of screwed him over of the win. So he's definitely one to redeem himself a little bit from that. Meanwhile, back in the lead, it's Clint Spillman now taking charge. And Clint Spillman's been kind of on an upswing as of late. He's been getting some really, really good finishes as of late, though he's still in the bottom of the point standings. And he's trying to change that for himself. Wow, there was almost some wrecking going on between Melissa Alexander and Ricky Carmen as they were crossing over with each other. Meanwhile, Melissa Alexander actually trying to get up to 2nd with no draft help, and it looks like she's going to clear Cole Baker off of turn 2. Oh, man! Multi-car accident. Michael Norman gets turned. Jonathan Zorline was in it. Kyle Matthews, Dylan Jacobs, Raphael Fireblade, but no caution came out because they all spun towards the inside. Man, oh man. Multi-car wreck, although nobody sustained major damage. Kyle Matthews actually, I think, has the most, with damage to the right side, or the driver's side. Jessica Sheldon, who actually I think got held up in that, is actually going to lose the draft now. But yeah, nobody sustained major damage apart from perhaps Jonathan Zorline and Kyle Matthews. Man, oh man, that was crazy. And no caution, as I said, considering they spun towards the inside and did not come back up into traffic. And now it's somewhat caused a separation in the pack, where there's now essentially 2 separate packs going on right now. First, it's Melissa Alexander leading on back to Cole Deaver, and that's 21 cars. And then you got a smaller group of cars from 22nd on back, led by Jake Rogers, back to Zachary Fitzwater in 31st. Caleb Kilburn and Jordan Forbes are going to miss out on being up there in the draft. So the one thing those guys that just spun around are definitely hoping for is a quick caution to come out. So that way everybody can get bunched back up and still compete. As we're getting ready to cross the line for the halfway point of the race, as the top 4 actually have started to break away from the main group of cars from 5th on back to 21st. So now we got like 3 groups of cars. You got the top 4, then you got 5th through 21st, and then 22nd on back to 31st. Huge change in pace here at Daytona as a result of a multi-car spin that did not bring the caution out because they did not spin up the track. They spun down towards the inside wall. And Melissa Alexander currently is the front runner right now on the racetrack, and she's actually looking for her second win of the season. She won in that controversial race back at North Wilkesboro, and she's looking to try and back that up with a win on speed here at Daytona. But yeah, you can tell the top four, since now they've gone in a chain formation, they are going really, really fast. In fact, lap times were virtually identical. And as you just saw right there, yeah, Melissa Alexander and DJ Curtis ran the exact same lap time the previous lap because they were in a freight train formation. But now they're starting to swap positions around, which could help that second group of cars, though not likely. And actually, it didn't help, as now this second group of cars from 5th back to 21st is now 5 seconds back from the lead, which is now being held by DJ Curtis. So yeah, these drivers back here like Michael Norman and such, yeah, they are definitely hoping for a quick caution to come out, so that way they can get back up into a pack and still race it out. Meanwhile, positions continue to swap up here in the top four as battle for the lead. Melissa Alexander trying to take the spot back from DJ Curtis with help from Carson Gum. So right now the top four up here battling: Melissa Alexander, Carson Gum, DJ Curtis, and Hannah Klein. And 3 out of these 4 drivers are in Ford machines. Michael Norman, who's by himself, who just spun around, and I think from what I saw of that incident, he was the first car that got turned, but did not hit anything. But he's by himself, and he could find himself in this group of cars right here in the top 4. So Michael Norman, if no caution comes out, he could be a difference maker in who wins and who loses this race. Back here in this group from 5th back to 21st, still racing it out as they continue to lose ground on the top 4, as they're now almost 7 seconds back. So if a caution were to come out, it'd most likely happen from this group of cars racing each other at oh, and the caution is out! Caution is out, but for what? Oh, Jake Rogers got turned, it looks like, and it might have been by Alyssa Drayson. So there was the caution that some of those drivers desperately needed. And Michael Norman is going to get saved by that caution, as he was close to going a lap down. He's going to get back towards the back of the pack and still have a shot at getting a good run tonight. So that was a timely caution for Michael Norman and for anybody else that had lost the pack. But looked like it was a 2-car incident that brought this caution out, and it looks like no real major damage to Jake Rogers' machine as I'm looking around his car. Yeah, I don't see any, maybe a little bit of rear end damage, if that. And then Alyssa Drayson, I don't see damage on her car, so we somehow, some way, although we got a stack up, as Jesse Turner was actually a driver involved in that stack up, so too was Rafael LeDuc, so yeah, perhaps a couple of cars now are going to be off the pace as a result of not slowing down to take the caution, but Melissa Alexander was the leader. Let's take a look and see what brought the caution out for the first time tonight here at Daytona. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it looks like Jesse Turner tries to make it 4 wide, and Jake Rogers moves up to try and give him room, but did not see James Shelley right there. And actually right there was a hit from Jesse Turner into Jake Rogers, and even James Shelley hit Jake Rogers a little bit. So that's how Jake got that little bit of rear end damage as a result of this spin. And because he spun in the middle of traffic, that was why NNSCRA officials threw the caution out. So good call on the officials. And Jake Rogers somehow, someway gets through with minimal damage and will still have a shot at getting a good run after all this settled out. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Daytona. So as a result of that first caution, we actually do have one driver out of the race, and that's Zach Rogers. And I got a feeling it might be because of a stack-up whenever they were trying to take the caution. So I feel like he was involved in that stack-up we saw, and that's why he's out of the race, perhaps sustained too much damage. So unfortunate for Zach Rogers, his abysmal return season continues to be abysmal. But anyways, the full field rundown. Melissa Alexander is your race leader. Second, Carson Gum. Third, DJ Curtis. Fourth, Hannah Klein. Fifth, Charles Sanford. Sixth is Cole Baker. Seventh, Joshua Sekuli. Eighth, Cole Deaver. Ninth, Jay Jefferson. 10th, Julia Katrine. 11th, Clint Spillman. 12th, Rob Evans. 13th, Seth Cole. 14th, Artur Castanha. 15th, James Qualls. 16th, Cody Lamas. 17th, Matt McIntyre. 18th, Henry Sanford. 19th, Ricky Carman. 20th, Johnny Gardner. Rest of the top 30 is Dylan Young, Benjamin Miles, Joey Parkhill, Chris Dollarton, Raphael Leduc, Jesse Turner, James Shelley, Alyssa Drayson, Jordan Forbes, Zachary Fitzwater. Then the rest of the field, Caleb Kilburn, Jake Rogers, Ryan Acosta, Jonathan Zorline, Raphael Fireblade, Kyle Matthews, Jessica Shelton, Dylan Jacobs, and Michael Norman. It'll be 6 laps to go here at the line. Still plenty of time for drivers to try and work their way up to at least get a good finish or even a win. Green flag is back out. 6 laps to go in the Pepsi 400. Melissa Alexander, who has led the most laps so far, to my knowledge, in this race, trying to go for her second win of the season. Meanwhile, I'm looking around in the back to see who is off the pace and who is not. Looks like Dylan Jacobs might be a bit off the pace, that or he just did not get a good restart and just got left hanging. I don't know, I think he might be a bit off speed. So that's tough for the driver who's third in points and is probably going to drop quite a few spots in the standings as a result, because he's right now in that dreaded bottom 5, and that's not where you want to be in the race. Melissa Alexander leads with 5 to go. DJ Curtis trying to make a comeback run at it. So too is Carson Gum, but new contenders or old contenders coming back. Clint Spillman, with help from Jay Jefferson, trying to work his way back up into the picture to win this race. As I'm watching to see who's going to form into what group of cars to try and battle one another for position. Meanwhile, Melissa Alexander doing a great job, actually, of blocking and not causing any problems. Meanwhile, it looks like because of Raphael Leduc, it's slowed down the group led by Zachary Fitzwater, so that's going to be tough for some of them. But yeah, Melissa Alexander trying to mirror drive right now and block every lane possible to keep the top spot on track. And Jay Jefferson, however, says, nope, you're not blocking me. And he's got to run to the inside. Clint Spillman scraping the wall off of turn 2, which we see that a lot here at Daytona. Meanwhile, it looks like it might become 3 wide for the lead. Seth Cole trying to stick his nose underneath of Jay Jefferson and Melissa Alexander. Now it's 3 by 3 for a couple of rows up here at the front. Man, things are starting to get racy up here as it's getting down to the wire. Although Melissa Alexander just seems to have a strong race car and managed to use the outside to still lead and keep the lead. Wow, and she got like a speed boost almost. Look at her go. Although she has a gap between herself and the pack, which is not really a good thing. But look who's right behind her. And that's Charles Sanford, who's trying to go for the Daytona sweep. Won the 500, trying to win the 400 now. And he's up in second. He just needs that help to make the pass. Jay Jefferson, on the other hand, also trying to get his second win of the season. Same with even Hannah Klein. Man, drivers are shuffling spots up here towards the front, but not for the lead. 2 laps to go, as Melissa Alexander continues to lead the race, as no one's been able to make the pass on her. She just seems to have a very strong car capable of staying up at the front. But Jay Jefferson trying to find a way around the 28, and he has help from Hannah Klein. But Hannah Klein decides it's go time to go to the bottom to try and get some more spots. But she didn't quite get enough of a run, and Jefferson going to block her. And this is what Melissa Alexander is loving right now, is keeping herself up here at the front of the field. And the white flag is about to display for the final lap here at Daytona. Jay Jefferson right there in second, but then it's 3 wide for third on back. And Jay Jefferson is going to need some draft help if he's going to have a shot at making a pass. Because Melissa Alexander has done a great job of blocking every lane and managing to stay up at the front. DJ Curtis going to the bottom to try and make a move on Jay Jefferson. But he didn't have draft help. Jefferson staying behind the 28. And it doesn't look like anyone's going to make a threat at the 28 at this point. We're getting ready to come off of turn 4 for the final time. Doesn't look like anyone's going to make a move. Checkered flag waving. Second win of the season. Melissa Alexander wins the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Unbelievable job. She managed to kind of prove that her win and trying to prove to herself that she's not a fluke winner and that she just straight up mirror drove everyone, outraced everyone here at Daytona. Congratulations to Melissa Alexander. That's her second win of the season right there. Like, holy cow. And I believe third overall in this series as well. But let's look at the rest of the results. Jay Jefferson, he had a strong car all race long, but just could not get draft help to try and make a pass for the lead, but still a great points day nonetheless in second. DJ Curtis continuing his upswing, as I brought up earlier, and probably going to move maybe top 5 in points as he finishes in third. Johnny Gardner with a solid run in fourth to back up that win at Connecticut this past week. Joshua Sakuli with a great run in the 5th position. In the 6th position was Cole Deaver, solid run for him. Great comeback run for Benjamin Miles in 7th. Cole Baker, solid run in 8th. Great run for Matt McIntyre in 9th. And then Jesse Turner, despite damage in that caution, still gets a top 10 run and is more than likely going to keep the points lead after tonight. Then there's your top 20, top 30, and then the bottom 5 for this week, including Zach Rogers, who was out, were Ryan Acosta, Jessica Sheldon, Jonathan Zorlane, and Dylan Jacobs. And as you're watching Melissa Alexander do her victory burnout here at Daytona, next race we go back to road course racing and we go to Champs-Élysées for the Goodyear Challenge. But until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Champs-Élysées. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.